Hello everyone, how are we doing? Welcome to this YouTube channel. If this is your first time, do want to subscribe, like, turn on the notifications. So today we're going to be having a very important conversation, really important video, because I'm going to have a conversation around something that is happening in Lagos and why I think you should pay serious attention to it. So if you're planning to live in between, please don't go anywhere. What I'm saying may save you millions of naira. I want you guys to stay tuned to the end of this video. This video is brought to you by Zeroti, a real estate company here in Lagos, Nigeria, that helps you to invest safer, smarter, and even more strategic in real estate. Okay, before we dive deep into what we have for today, remember, if you have not subscribed, click that button and turn on post notifications. We release amazing content every single day on this channel. Subscribing will ensure that you're the first to get the content that we release. So what exactly is happening in this place called Lagos? That's the question that I want to first of all ask. I've had a number of people reach out to me and they are scared to invest in Lagos because they really think there's some tribalism going on. Some of the people are not tribalism conscious. They're just scared that if they buy anything in Lagos, the government can wake up tomorrow and demolish it. So there's a case that is happening currently, and for those that don't know the story, I'm going to make this video real quick, get straight into the point. So there is a coastal highway that is meant to be constructed. A coastal highway is basically a highway that is passing through the coast, not exactly, but it's really close to the sea. And it's meant to span from Lagos all the way to Calabar, so it's meant to connect a lot of states. It's being done by the federal government in collaboration with the Lagos state government. They approved that project and they're about to start construction, and so Lagos state then had what we call a right of way. They approved that project, so Lagos state then had to check, because anytime there's a project like that, there is a design on how the road is going to pass through. So what exactly happened was, in the design that they currently have, it was something before, something now. At the point where you're watching this video, it just may not be right. You know, the current design that seems to be flying around, that highway is going to pass through a lot of properties. So that means technically they are going to have to demolish a lot of these properties so they could build that highway. A couple of estates were affected, but one of the ones that is making rounds is Landmark. According to the last check, I think it's estimated that around 80 businesses, different businesses, will be affected, because Landmark is a really big group and they have this amazing beach, and a couple of other businesses around that area, and then that road is meant to pass through that area, and that's where it started making media rounds. Some people claim that because the Landmark guy is an Igbo guy, it's some tribalism move against him, while some other people just hate the Lagos state government and say they are toxic and they are wicked and they are all of that, right? So at this point, like I said, please fact check everything. Things are changing, things can move. So everything that I said previously about the current story, ensure you fact check, and I'll be glad if you have more information about it, let me know. But this is where I want you to pay serious attention to. So usually, if Landmark has all their documents, C of O, they have a governor's consent for their properties, which I think a company that big should have. If they have all the properties that they have, then what will happen is, as government demolishes their property, they will then value what they have demolished and then they will compensate them. That's really what should happen. You know, while I was thinking of working on this video, it brought back something that I want to say again. See, when you buy a property in Lagos State, Nigeria, I'm begging you, try never to buy a property that doesn't have complete documentation. So let me give you an example. Usually when demolitions happen like this, or the government has to take over a place, only those who have perfected documents will get compensation. Because if you don't have a perfected document, maybe you just bought the land, you don't have any title on the land, what will happen is technically the government doesn't see the land as yours. And so what will happen is they will take over that property and then you'll have zero compensation, simply because you don't have title documents. So if you are asking what's the point of title documents, this is one of those places where title documents is super important. Because if Landmark doesn't have any title documents, they're going to take over their property and they won't give them a couple. But I think, you know, those guys are way bigger than that and they should have their documents. So if their demolition is going to go on, then they're going to have to compensate Landmark. But really, no matter the amount of compensation, in my opinion, and I can be wrong, it won't suffice, because they're going to lose quite a lot of business, which is actually the crux of my making this video. Listen guys, the way real estate is, many a times we don't see real estate as an investment, and that's a problem, because we are trained enough, if we want to invest in stocks, if we want to invest in maybe crypto or ETF, one of the major things that we are trained to do is never put all our eggs in one basket. But for real estate, we put all our eggs in one basket many times unknowingly. And that is why I'm making this video, because I want you guys to realize that you can do everything correct and life will just happen in real estate. Because technically, when the government gives you a C of O, it lasts for 99 years. It's actually a long lease if you want to look at it technically. So they own all the land in that state. What I want you to realize is that, like I said, I don't have access to the documents of Landmark, but if they have a C of O, if they have their title, if they have their building approval, that means they ticked all the boxes. Due diligence was done, proper construction was done, nothing wrong, but life still happened. Which is why I want to tell you guys, when you want to invest in real estate, you can do every single thing right, and at some point in time things can still go wrong. So just like every investment, there's a very important rule that you must bring into play when you are investing in real estate, and that rule is diversification. But not many people talk about it. So when you're investing, there are two most important things that I think everybody should pay attention to. Number one is increase, right? So you want to have returns in that investment. Number two is safety, because every increase that you get will disappear if the property is lost. So you want to be able to ensure that your properties are as safe and secure as possible. And just like Landmark, you can tick all the boxes and life still happens. So how exactly do you protect yourself? How do you diversify? Right? When we work with our investors, right, people want to invest through us, and if that's something you want to do, you can have a conversation with us. We'll help you get properties in strategic places. But what we do is we run you through, I think, anywhere 5 to 15 different metrics that we use to diversify. But for the point of this video, I'm going to give you maybe just 3. Number 1 is you must diversify amongst locations. What does that mean? There are 2 ways you can do this. Number 1 is diversifying intra-state and diversifying interstate when you're talking about location. When you are diversifying intrastate, you're diversifying within the states. Some of you have properties in Lagos State, so all your properties are in Ekpe. That means if something happens to Ekpe, all your properties are gone. Diversifying intrastate means as you buy Ekpe, buy something on the mainland. As you buy maybe in Ikeja, buy Surulere. As you buy Surulere, buy Lekki Phase 1. Don't take your entire life savings and buy in only one area simply because you feel it's going to appreciate. And another level of diversification when it comes to location is interstate. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. Because by the Land Use Act of 1978, right, in summary, all right, this is not exactly how we say it, but in summary, the state governor is basically in charge of all the lands in the state. So Lagos State Governor, depicts what happens to Lagos State lands, Ogun State Governor like that, Ibadan, Akwa Ibom, and all of that. So where I'm going is Lagos State Governor can wake up today and release a regulation or say something, and everybody whose land is in Lagos State is going to be affected. But then, if you have a land in Ogun State, that land is not going to be affected. So that's one good thing about Nigeria. Our land, system is tied to the state government. So that means if I have a land, all my lands in Lagos, tomorrow a new regulation comes out, every single one of my investments are going to be affected. And sometimes it may not be in your favor. So sometimes we tell some people to invest in other places. If you're investing in Lagos, maybe you can do some Ogun State, you can do some Ibadan, but they say no, they don't want to invest there. It's too far, it's too kiniko. If the governor wakes up and says something that affects you, or they want to do a development that affects you, all your investment can go down the drain. So you want to invest and diversify via location. That's one of the first things you want to do. The next diversification you want to do is diversification via property title. Now, a lot of you at the time of this video, you are currently in places like Ekpe, like Ibejuleki, right? And all the lands you are buying are probably freehold or freehold and registered survey. In fact, those are technically not titles, but for the sake of this video, I like to call them their processing level. So the land has been processed up to registered survey. Now, the problem with that is, you see, when you don't have solid titles on your land, if there's anything that's going to happen, there are 2 major things that can happen. Number 1 is dispute. Somebody comes and says this land is my own. You have some level of proof, but it's not as solid as somebody who has a CFO or governor's consent, or maybe an excision of the Gazette. And the second reason is for government regulations. So something like this now, the government wakes up, they say we want to have, we want to build a road here. Your property is on that, but you don't have any solid document. You won't get compensation. And this is it. The lands with solid titles, usually those lands are more expensive, 30 million, 35, 60 million. Now, the lands that don't have solid titles, they're usually cheap. So what many people do is they're asking themselves, why should I buy one plot at 30, 60 million when I can buy 10 plots with that same money? So they're only looking in terms of quantity and they're not looking in terms of quality. So I tell people, if you've bought some registered survey here, you've bought some freehold here, we have maybe 2, 3, 4 plots, gather money. The next property you buy, let it have a very, very solid title. So that if anything happens, you don't have a problem. You don't have sleepless nights. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So that's the next thing. Ensure that you don't buy, at least have a land with a solid title. Right? It's just for your own investment safety. Right? The last thing that I think that I'll give you out of our diversification strategy is you should diversify amongst developers. Some of you are buying all your properties from one developer. It can be dangerous. All right? Let me tell you something that not many people tell you. So developers, some of them that are dishonest and are not exactly truthful, what they do is they will sell a property to many people, sell a property to maybe 1,000 plots. Sometimes they even sell houses, right? And usually they collect loans to sometimes buy those lands or sometimes build those houses, right? So they collect loans. And when they want to collect loans, maybe to build a house, what they do is sometimes they will use the land documents as collateral. So they'll go to the bank, they say we have so hectares of land, we want to build on it, we want to borrow so amount, here are the land documents, and they submit the documents to the bank. Then let's say something happens, they eventually build the house, but they don't finish building it, whatever way happens, they sell those houses. They sell off-plan houses. When they sell off-plan houses, maybe something happens, maybe they didn't do a calculation, or there's a mismanagement of money. What then happens is the land document that they submitted, they can't pay the bank back their money. Now, the bank has a right to collect the land. So everybody that has bought that house from that developer is in problems. Now imagine you bought 10 different estates from the same developer that has that kind of problem. And it's not something that is anybody's fault, because your realtor will not know. Because when you ask for the land documents, what they'll do is they'll send you a copy. They won't give you the original copy. You won't know that the original copy is with the bank. So the truth is that no matter how hard you try, you cannot exactly know 100% of what is happening inside a development company. Are you with me? Right? There's a particular development company. I've said this story many times. Very funny story. But the day to allocation, they didn't find the guy again. The guy just disappeared. They ran away with all their money. Now imagine you bought tenancies from that person. So I know you trust them. I know they are trustworthy, but diversify. If you buy 2 from ABC developer, calm down. Go and buy another 2. It can even be side by side. The same area, the same fence. If you love the area so much, don't worry. Are you with me? Or what you can do is you can have different developers in different states. So if you say Ogun State, I'm working with a particular developer, Nasarawa or Abuja, doing another developer, Lagos, I'm doing another developer. That way you have diversified across location and across developer at the same time. So if anything happens, there's almost nothing that can happen that will sweep your entire portfolio at the same time. This is why, like I said, this landmark story is something that I want us to take that lesson from and learn how and why you need to diversify your investment portfolio. I'm hoping this resource was useful for you. Do me a favor, share it, like it. You can leave a comment, we can have a conversation, right? You don't agree with something I said, let's have a conversation. You agree, let's have a conversation. And as usual, if you're looking for someone to help walk you through the property journey, help you in strategic acquisitions, diversification, you can send me a message on WhatsApp. The numbers are scrolling on the screen, or send me an email or leave a comment, and I'll be in touch with you. We'll see how we can help you accelerate your journey to prosperity through real estate, right? Once again, if you haven't subscribed, do well, subscribe to the channel, like, and I remain Realtor Z, your plug for the best real estate investment deals. See you guys in the next one.